In this lecture module, I want to review some of the resources that you can access through the tabs at the top of our landing page here. We'll look at the Content tab, the Quizzes tab, the Discussions tab, and the Gradebook tab. Let's start with the Content tab. When you click on the Content tab, it will take you to the Content page. There's a course schedule, which tells you the events of the course that are happening that day, the next day, and for the next 7 days. There's a link to the syllabus that you can download in PDF form, and there are links for each of the modules. The modules give you a lesson overview, talk about the learning objectives, and then give you a list of assignments, resources, tests, quizzes, articles, and so on, together with due dates and a time frame for that module. So for instance, the class orientation video here is linked from this Content page module. This section is, of course, reproduced in each of the news feeds that will appear during each module for the course as well. Our first activity is the Study Habits Inventory that's linked off this Content page as well as in the news feed. That activity will be an activity that you complete, and then you come and take a quiz about that activity on Beachboard. Here's a link to our first article on the value of philosophy by Bertrand Russell. Here's a link to the lecture about that article, and here's a link to the quiz covering the material for that article. And as you go through each module, you'll see that same structure reproduced again and again. And as I say, each new module will correspond to the appearance of a new newsfeed that replicates this, as well as discussing how the course is progressing and what we're going to be covering in that particular week. Let's turn our attention now to the Quizzes tab. When you click on the Quizzes tab, it takes you to the quiz page, which lists all of the quizzes for the entire term. Quizzes are broken into current quizzes, upcoming quizzes, and completed quizzes. Since this term is so highly compressed, with assignments due on both Wednesdays and Saturdays, I will activate quizzes, tests, and other activities that are due on Wednesdays at 7 a.m. on the previous Wednesday. That will give students 7 days to complete those assignments. I will activate quizzes, tests, and other activities due on Saturdays each Monday at 7 a.m. That'll give students 6 days to complete those assignments. This will provide students with a little flexibility if they need to work ahead a little bit in anticipation of commitments they have with family, holidays, work, and so on. Now, I don't recommend that students try to work very far ahead in the course because some elements of the course, like the discussion assignments, are still pegged to particular times in the term. But hopefully this provides students with a little flexibility as to how quickly or slowly they progress through the material, either keeping pace with the pace set by the course or working ahead a little bit in order to have some free time for family or for work, other commitments, and so on. There are generally two kinds of quizzes for this class. There are quizzes that cover activities like the Study Habits Beachboard quiz, and quizzes that cover reading assignments and lectures like the Russell quiz and the Toolkit quiz. And then there are reviews and tests. We have 2 reviews before every test. We have a test every second module, so 2, 4, and 6. The first extra credit assignment or quiz reviews the material from those 2 modules, and you can earn extra credit points by taking that quiz that will be applied to the labs and quizzes from that module up to 100%. The second quiz is an extra credit practice test that covers that material again. And again, you're incentivized to take that because you can earn extra credit that gets applied to the score of the test itself. And so we have tests covering activities and lectures and articles, and we have review and test quizzes throughout the term. Let's turn our attention now to the Discussion tab. When you click on the Discussion tab, it takes you to the 3 discussion topics for this term. This first one, the Study of Philosophy discussion. You'll be told to post a response to the discussion prompt, the question that asks you to reflect on the material. You'll need to post that by the due date, and when you click on your discussion group, it will bring you to that thread. Then you can, if no one has posted a response yet, click Start a New Thread and post your response, like so. You can select which group you're supposed to be in, or just click on all groups assigned to me since you'll only be assigned one. Copy your post in here and then post it. Once people have posted their initial responses, then after a couple of days, you'll be asked to have posted a response to somebody else's initial response. And that will be your discussion assignment. Finally, let's turn our attention to the Grades tab. When you click on the Grades tab, you're brought to the Grades page. It lists all of the assignments, activities, quizzes, discussions, and it tells you the weight for particular categories. Activities and discussions and quizzes are all linked together as one category, and they're worth 55% of your grade. As you complete a particular assignment, the grade will come up in your gradebook together with the percentage out of 100 that you earned from that particular assignment and the percentage that you could possibly have earned. The same thing will be true for each of our 3 tests. Once you complete it, you'll get a score. That score is also given to you in the form of a weighted percentage of the total possible course points out of 100. So if you got a 14, you got 28 out of 30 on that test, then you'll get a 14 out of 15 here. You can determine your score for the course by adding that up, keeping in mind that all the assignments will total 100, and so whatever you've got, the number of points out of 100 course points that you've earned so far. All of the extra credit practice assignments have weights assigned to them, but they don't contribute to your overall grade directly. I have to go back in and manually enter extra credit points into raw scores because Beachboard doesn't have a very good mechanism for doing that. In the next lecture module, what I'd like to do is briefly go over our first activity, the study habits inventory and its associated Beachboard quiz, and then review some of the points on the syllabus that we haven't addressed specifically so far.